So this past week, Russian President Vladimir Putin gave some major warnings to the West, right? He says that there are no countermeasures that the West can make when he fires off these subsonic missiles. What Biden is doing right now is playing a dangerous game. Let's talk about why Biden is escalating World War III. But before he's trying to do this before he leaves the Oval Office. He's doing it for a reason. Now, you know that I've always made predictions on my channel when it came to these political topics. All of my predictions that I made have came into fruition. I have two predictions today that I hope doesn't come to fruition, but we'll talk about that later in this video. Let's talk about that today. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Melanated Rebel News Network, broadcasting to you live from the beautiful and historic city of Charleston, South Carolina. I'm your host, the Melanated Rebel, Ricky Manor. And if this is your first time tuning into my channel, please be sure to hit that like button, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and be sure to hit that bell notification so you know when I go live or when I upload new content. And I can't move further without thanking my beautiful and hardworking patriotic sister, Melissa Foster of M. Foster Creations, who put our website together here at mrnewsnetwork.com. And I also want to thank the members of Bad Company for your contributions to my channel. You guys show me your appreciation with your contributions to my channel to help me get out here and bring this news to you guys. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. That shows me your appreciation. And also, if you want to be a blessing to today's broadcast, there's my cash out, Melanated Rebel SC. But let's see who I got in the chat room so far. Where's everybody chiming in from today? What's up, Reginald Tyler? What's up, Rocket Man, Rocket Matrix? Just woke up. That's not good. It's Sunday. Not supposed to be sleeping in. What's wrong with you, man? It's Sunday. It's 1:24. That means you was up all night. Where everybody hailing from today? What's good with everybody? What's up, Colorado? How's it going? I get high like Colorado. How's it going out there in Colorado? I know it's cold out there. Heck, it's getting cold out here, man. Shoot, it gets to like, well, it's just now getting to the point where I can tolerate putting my convertible top down, taking a cruise. You know, I want to say this before I get started. It is no secret that Biden is going to try to start World War III, but nobody is talking about why he is trying to start World War III. See, I remember when Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky came to Trump and wanted Trump to intervene with his dispute that he was having with Russia. And Trump told him, listen, you need to work out your problems with Vladimir Putin on your own. You remember this, right? So let's fast forward to 2020. Allergies. But let's fast forward to 2020. And when Trump suspected that Joe Biden was doing dirty business in Ukraine, right? Now, Trump went to Vladimir Zelensky like a gentleman and inquired what type of business is Biden doing in his country. Zelensky took to the worldwide stage that Donald Trump is using a foreign government to spy on his political opponent. Fast forward to the Biden presidency when Russia attacked Ukraine. We were told that Russia had committed a hostile act of aggression by moving its way into Russia, right? Vladimir Putin responded on the worldwide stage about the neo-Nazis that were in Ukraine, which were from the United States. He specifically said the United States. Now, you know, anytime he talks about the conglomerate of the Western world or NATO, he refers to us as the West. But he specifically, in that video, said that there is a heavy neo-Nazi presence in Ukraine, and they're coming from the United States. Do you guys remember this? You guys remember this, right? Now, the Democrats stated that Putin was spreading false propaganda, and that there is no way that neo-Nazis are coming from the United States. False. Yes, there are neo-Nazis in the United States, and they are more than just a bunch of yokels drinking cheap alcohol and screaming racial slurs on social media. They are a well-organized paramilitary group with training camps all across this country. It's nothing new. It's nothing new. They call themselves white national socialists, which socialists are on the side of the Democrats, being that the Democrats are advocates of socialism. Am I making any sense so far, people? Press 1 if I'm making any sense so far. Press 2 if you want me to shut this thing down. Let's see. NK was only on front lines because they train yearly. Yeah, I mean, I hope I'm making sense here. I hope I'm making sense. And some of them neo-Nazis that I'm talking about were in your crowds at the BLM riots, stirring up chaos. The Umbrella Man, for instance. What's up, Tom? How's it going? You guys remember during the George Floyd riots, the Umbrella Man who was vandalizing the AutoZone? The one who started vandalizing the AutoZone, and that black man came along, he was smoking a blunt and holding a pizza. And he pretty much said, somebody hold my blunt. But he was ready to fight that man with a pizza in his hand because that man was stirring up chaos. The Umbrella Man, he was wearing a gas mask. Well, come to find out, it all came out in the wash that this man was not on the side of black people. He was a neo-Nazi. Do you guys remember when the Biden administration painted a target on the backs of Trump supporters after J6? Yeah, the Biden administration gave out hotlines to where you can report your Trump-supporting friends, family, and neighbors. They called us what they call us? Dangerous white supremacist domestic terrorist. You remember when they were calling us that? I was called that several times on social media. I was called that a couple of times by people that I thought knew me personally. Dangerous white supremacist domestic terrorist. Patriot paramilitary groups such as the Proud Boys, the Oathkeepers, and the 3 Percenters were broken up. We remember this, right? Am I making any sense to anybody here? This chat room's kind of dead. Press 1 in this chat room. Press 1 if y'all are attending today. Or if I'm just sitting here talking to my damn self. What's up, Mike Lewis? How's it going? Am I just sitting here talking to my damn self or what, man? What's up, Breezy Stratton? Long time no see. Happy Sunday. Oh, you playing Fallout? It looks like the world's going to be in Fallout before too long. But you guys remember when these Patriot paramilitary groups were like, considered as terrorists? They called the Proud Boys, the Oathkeepers, the 3 Percenters. They were all broken up. Their websites were taken off the internet, and their merchandise were removed from online retailers such as Etsy and Amazon. You guys remember that, right? But these neo-Nazi websites were left intact, and you can still order Azov Battalion merch from Amazon and Etsy. Yes. Who are the Azov Battalion? Anybody knows who the Azov Battalion is in my chat room? Anybody knows who the Azov Battalion is in my chat room? I mean, they're nobody new. Now, when Putin said that the threat of neo-Nazis were coming from the United States specifically, it made perfect sense to me. It made perfect sense to me. The Azov Battalion angels among us are neo-Nazis. The Azov Battalion are neo-Nazis. And they're the ones who are on the front line in Ukraine right now. It is a paramilitary group in Ukraine that are made up of neo-Nazis. They have full support of the Democratic Party that tells their black voters, yeah, whoa, yeah, I'm about to go in it right now. Yeah, these neo-Nazis have the full support of the same Democratic Party that tells their black voter base that white supremacy is the biggest threat to black America. This is one reason that I don't take these professional victim Negroes serious when they talk about white supremacy and affiliating racism with the Republican Party. Let's talk about something real quick. This goes to show you how illiterate and uneducated that these professional victims on the left are. The White Knights of the Ku Klux Klan, yes, they did start as a Democratic organization, but they are now in support of the Republican Party. They are a hate group. They are a hate group. The White Knights of the Ku Klux Klan, yes, they are a hate group. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to actually tell us that the White Knights of the Ku Klux Klan are a hate group. But they are capitalist and not socialist, right? I actually went to see when the Klan had their legal right to protest. I actually sat out in the crowd and listened to what they had to say. I actually listened to what they had to say. I wasn't there to counter protest them. I'm like, okay, if they want to protest in a public place, let's hear what it is they have to say. And believe it or not, after listening to their manifesto, I was in full agreements with them until they started talking about the anti-black hatred. I was in full agreements with everything they had to say until they started talking about the anti-black hatred. See, you can have pride in your race without having hatred for another race. I don't mind anybody having pride in their race, but pride in your race should not involve harming or hurting or demeaning someone else. And not all black people have a socialist mindset. Most of us melanated people in America enjoy the benefits of capitalism, especially when collectively we as a people consume $1.2 trillion a year. So not all white Republicans are Klansmen, but all Klansmen are white Republicans. Let's keep it a buck. Most white Republicans will publicly vocalize their disdain for the Klan and don't want to have any parts of their hateful rhetoric. This is why you see a lot of white people denying their racism that are Republicans, because they're not racist. I've seen where racist people were ran away from patriot rallies because one thing they did not want to happen was for the mainstream news media to show up and see these racists at the front end of the MAGA movement. See, a lot of you lefties ask me, how can I support a party that also is supported by the Klan? And my answer is simple. If a Klansman like to go down on women, I'm not going to start going down on men to protest what the Klansman dislikes or likes. Also, I would have to ask you lefties that same question when I ask you, why do you support a party that is supported by neo-Nazis? How was it acceptable for you to accept Joe Biden doing nothing for your protections when neo-Nazis shot up two black shopping areas full of black people? Why do you find it acceptable that Joe Biden didn't use the DOJ to shut down these neo-Nazi paramilitary training facilities across the country? You were so fixated on taking down Trump supporters that you let the real threat of white supremacy wreak havoc on innocent black people. Al Sharpton and Benjamin Chump wasn't even asking these questions, but were advocating for the Democratic Party to continue their same old shenanigans. Getting back to the geopolitical aspect of this conversation, Joe Biden is trying to clean up the evidence before he loses power. Zelensky knows that once Trump takes office, that his days of being the little big bully are over. He knows this. Trump is going to cut Zelensky's allowance off, and the dirty business that his country done with the Biden regime will be exposed. WTF Fake News says, I'm here just doing side work for the news blog. Finally grew up and took down the content. They yanked my monetization. Ouch. They haven't yanked mine yet. Yeah, we're provoking Russia before Biden leaves because we're trying to cover the evidence, angels among us. But see, one thing that I would like to see come to light is the reason that the neo-Nazi really shot up that grocery store at Tops Foods in Buffalo, New York. That was more than just a hate crime for those of you who are too slow to understand. There's a lot of you who are too slow to understand that when Peter Gendron shot up that Tops Foods, that was more than just a hate crime. As a matter of fact, it wasn't a hate crime at all. Oh, wait a minute. Where are you going with this, Ricky? Oh, we'll talk about that in another video. Somebody specifically was targeted for that crime. That was a crime that looked like a hate crime, but there was a specific political target in that crowd. And there's also a reason that pictures were scrubbed from YouTube of Peter Gendron's weapon during that shooting spree. My video that I made right after that coverage was exposing the symbols on Peter Gendron's weapon. YouTube didn't strike my channel, but they did remove that video of me calling out the sketchy details of that case. We would have to ask, who trained Peter Gendron, and why were the symbols of the Azov Battalion on his AR? Peter Gendron did not just one day pick up a weapon and go on a shooting spree. If you saw the way, you saw that video like I had to suffer through it, that man was well trained. That man was well trained. You just don't pick up an AR and know how to do what he was doing. And he had a GoPro cam on. On a side note, since we're talking about how YouTube removes videos at the drop of a dime, do you notice how the government is now trying to break up Google's monopoly over public online information? Y'all notice that? I mean, they just lost a lawsuit last week. Yeah, they know that Trump is going to turn over some tables when he returns to the Oval Office. While the Democrats have a lot of you chasing your tails by pointing fingers at the Republicans, they're really doing a number on America. Okay, let's talk about the problem in Ukraine. Let's talk about this real quick, how this whole thing started. And I'm going to break it down so the slowest of the slow of you can understand it. The problem with Ukraine was the fact that the United States had their missiles parked in Russia's backyard. Let's break it down to where the most dumb of you will understand the situation. Let's just say, for instance, your next door neighbor is mutual friends with your enemy who lives across the street, right? Your enemy wants access to the valuables in your house that you buy, sell, and trade to the same customers. Could you see your next door neighbor as your friend or your enemy when your neighbor allows your enemy to store his weapons in his backyard, close to your house? Also, your next door neighbor allows your enemy to come into his backyard near your house with those same weapons. Yeah, Trenton, there was some biolabs there. Now, at any given time, with your enemy having that access being adjacent to your home, your enemy can dictate who you buy, sell, and trade to because they can easily hold you up at gunpoint. What's up, Joy? How you doing? It's always good to see you here. So let's break it down. The world sees now in the United States, we're force fed this fake news, right? But on the world stage, Vladimir Putin is seen as the kid who stood up to the bully, which the United States and the West were that bully. When Biden put sanctions on Russia, that done nothing but made our dollars less valuable in the world. See, other countries don't know if they can trust the integrity of the United States after Biden had put those sanctions on Russian money. A whole new world trade started under the Biden administration that excluded trade with the United States. The Russian ruble actually went up in value after the sanctions that were placed on them by the United States. What's up, Lawrence? How's it going? Yeah, and they don't tell you that part on the mainstream media, that the Russian ruble actually went up during this whole ordeal. And the strength of the United States is not the same as it was under Ronald Reagan or George Bush. It's not. The younger generation is weaker and are more concerned with their first world problems. Bathroom disputes and arguments over gender are first world luxuries. The younger generation's minds are clouded with the misinformation that is generated by for-profit news agencies. The radical left are so damn misinformed that they're chanting Free Palestine when Palestinian customs would not even accept most of their leftist policies. Smash that like button, people. Do y'all not see the irony in that? These radical leftists are walking down the streets with their rainbow flags, burning American flags, screaming death to America. Right? But in the country that they call Palestine, their leftist ways would not be accepted there. Thank you, Michael. They would not be accepted in this country that they call Palestine. We know Palestinian customs will strongly reject feminism. Palestinian customs will strongly reject the LGBTQ protections that are exercised freely in the United States. If the truth is uncovered about the crimes against humanity that are taking place by the United States in Ukraine, unfortunately, Joe Biden would not be able to stand trial. He would be too incoherent. The left would see the delivery of justice on the leaders involved in that situation in Ukraine as a political act of aggression and retaliation by MAGA Republicans. The radical left knew what they were doing when they were putting Trump on all of these crazy charges. They knew what they were doing, and they knew that Donald Trump was going to return to the White House. They wasn't trying to stop Donald Trump from getting into the White House. They were trying to look like the good guys when Trump got back to the White House. Can the church say amen for me? They knew they were not going to stop Donald Trump. They knew the hush money trials, the freaking whatever they had put up on him. They knew that those were not going to stick. They knew that Trump was coming back to the White House. A lot of you are thinking, man, they're going to try to stop Trump from getting into the White House. No, the more they attacked Trump, the more power they gave him. They knew what they were doing. Their only hope that Trump would not make it into the White House is that there would be women in this country who would vote for a woman based on the fact that she's a woman. Kamala Harris wasn't trying to win that election. Let's be real. She wasn't trying to win that election. That was a big money grab. How the hell do you think Kamala Harris was trying to win an election when she was going to black churches and kicking black people out of those churches for screaming that Christ is king? How is she trying to win an election, right? When she wasn't addressing why the Democratic Party was losing voters amongst their black base. No, it was just more along the lines of vote Democrat or else we reject you. She had no policies. She was a Tyler Perry movie villain. She wasn't trying to win the election. No, they were throwing all of that mess at Donald Trump so that when Donald Trump do return to office, they can look like the good guys when Donald Trump does his job. What job is Donald Trump going to do? Well, they're going to call him a Nazi when he starts rounding up these illegal aliens. Expect that. Expect that. They're going to call him a Nazi. They're going to call him a racist. They're going to call him a white supremacist. They're going to bring up the Central Park Five. We're going to hear about all of that when Donald Trump starts rounding up these illegal aliens. They're going to get violent because I don't see them wanting to leave. They're not going to leave peacefully, a lot of them. So when civilians start protecting themselves from these illegal aliens, when they start getting violent, guess what? They're going to be like, well, these Trump gave these racist white people the balls to shoot these illegal immigrants. No. I'm giving y'all some predictions here. That's exactly what's going to happen when they get violent and people start, the American people start practicing their Second Amendment rights to defend themselves. They're going to say that it was driven by racism, xenophobia. I'm giving y'all the plan of what's going to happen, man. I'm telling y'all what's going to happen. They're going to blame it, and you're going to have some old racist white folks that's going to get on camera and say something stupid, but don't believe that because those are leftists that you're going to see do that. They're going to put on some MAGA gear, get on camera, and start talking all of this racist nonsense. I'm telling y'all what's going to happen before it does. I'm giving y'all straight up predictions. And then they're going to get black folks saying, if they're doing that to them, they're going to do that to us. I'm telling you exactly what's happening here, man. So y'all heard it here. Y'all heard it here first. They're going to say that Trump is committing political malicious acts of vengeance when he starts prosecuting people that are caught up in that Ponzi scheme that's going on in Ukraine. He's not committing any acts of revenge. And I think it's crazy that right now that the DOJ is trying to shut down Google. Why are they trying to shut down Google at a time like this? Why are they trying to shut down Google at a time like this? Because if they shut down Google and break up the monopoly on Google, guess what else they're breaking up? YouTube. They're breaking up YouTube. It's going to be other search engines companies out there that's going to start bringing on platforms. These tech giants that can't compete with Google are going to try to rise up. And I can guarantee you another prediction I'm going to make is you're going to see a lot of data breaches that's going to happen when the government attacks Google. And they try to say that Google is running a monopoly. Google is not running a monopoly here. Google is outperforming its competition. I didn't know it was against the law to be more successful than your competition. Google is not running a monopoly. There are several different websites and search engines you can go on if you want to compete in that market. If you want to choose, okay, you have Lycos, That's still a search engine. You have Bing, that's a search engine. You have DuckDuckGo, that's a search engine. You have Microsoft Edge, that's a search engine. You don't have to just go to Google Chrome to use that as a search engine. But they're not only attacking Google Chrome, they're in that lawsuit, and it's too much to read to you guys today because I bore the shit out of you. I would bore the shit out of you if I was to go through and read, but I'm just highlighting the key things here. They want Google Chrome off the search market, the search engine market, for 5 years. Well, what is that going to do? Glad you asked. Glad you asked. If they break up Google, right? If they break up Google, they're going to break up the information the way that we normally get our information. It's easy. It's easy to manipulate when people's ways of receiving their information is shattered. Google is not running a monopoly. Now, who else is this going to affect on this lawsuit? It's not only going to affect Google, it's going to affect Android and Apple. Why is the government trying to break up the way we receive our information? What? Did y'all smash that like button yet? Press 1 if y'all smashed that like button, because I don't come on here to talk to myself. You know, the Cash App is not free, but the like button and the share button is. I'd rather y'all smash that like button and share button than y'all give me anything on this. What's up, Broccanelli? First time you see you here. What's up, Diane? What's up, Tom? What's up, Ted? I want to thank y'all for hitting that like button, man. Michael, I don't know how to pronounce your last name, but yeah. So those are my predictions of how they're going to do this. Trump is going to be met with 10 times the resistance by the mainstream media than he did his first term. Which is why I'm glad that he's pushing for freedom of speech on social media so that the American people can have an open and honest conversation. Yeah, I got only 16 likes with over 100 viewers here, man. Y'all smash that like button, man. Y'all know what to do. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend like Google is totally innocent either, because Google, which owns YouTube, they do a lot of suppressing of the truth here. The problem that I see is not that Google is outperforming its competition, but when everybody's coming to Google, then Google can set the terms on what you see and what you don't see. Google can set those terms, and that's what I don't like. That's my only problem here. Those of you who've been watching me for the past, 4 years, can vouch for the fact that a lot of my videos get suppressed. People don't even know I exist. Some of you don't even get the alarms when it comes out. No, I don't believe that Google should be shut down. But I believe that Google has too much control over the truth that people speak. See, you got to understand, Google. If you're watching me, Google, here's a strong suggestion. You do have more than lefties that support your platform. You do have more than lefties that keep you rich. You do have more than lefties, right, that do the things for your company to succeed. You have different points of view. You have different opinions. And it's bias of you to suppress people's opinions. No matter what they are. No matter what those opinions are. If you want to open an honest conversation with each other, if you want us to have an open and honest conversation with each other as the American people, then there are just certain things that you're just going to have to do to step out of the way and allow the American people to talk to each other. You have the platform that they could do that. Because suppressing people's freedom of speech is the most blatant form of social engineering, especially when you have these content creators, these so-called influencers that have more bots than they do followers that forge the optics of their popularity. You have people thinking that Black America is all down with the Democratic Party. You had people thinking that all of Black America was down with BLM. You have people thinking that Black America still supports the likes of Al Sharpton, Messi Jackson, and Benjamin Chump. And anytime a Black person or a group of Black people speak out against them, you silence them. You throttle them in the algorithm, or you send a bunch of, you allow, I'm not saying you're responsible for this YouTube, but you allow trolls to come in, troll bots to come in and try to make it seem like Al Sharpton, Messi Jackson, and Benjamin Chump have more popularity or more favoritism. You need to allow the American people to openly communicate with each other. Because that's the only way, Google. That's the only way, Google, that people will actually defend you. But I find it strange that, they're wanting to come down on Google at this moment in time when all of this is going on, right before Trump gets into office, shortly after Trump gave that speech about what he's going to do to regulate how people are being shadow banned and the algorithms, how people are losing their social media accounts just because they say so. What's going on, James Pocock? Google, it's not up to you to declare what's false information and what's real information. Now you're becoming the arbitrators over who can speak and who can't. I had a video removed before when they say I was giving false information, right? But I could go to the Google search engine and get that same information. So how is it that I'm being punished for giving false information when some of the information that I got before I said it on that video, I got it from the Google search engine and wasn't even allowed to appeal it. Was not even allowed to appeal it. So that's where I say, I don't think that it's wrong that Google is outperforming their competition. We live in a capitalist society. You're supposed to outperform your competition. But what I think is wrong is how Google can control the information that we get our hands on. What we're allowed to say, what we're allowed to hear. That's where the problem comes in. We are no better than Russia right now. Yeah, Russia tells their citizens what they better say and what they better not say. Here in the United States, Google tells us what we better say and what we better not say. Here in the United States, Google is the one who predicts what we can and can't say. And a lot of us make money, supplement our incomes off this website. Yeah, I get a check from Google for those of you who want to know. I get a check from Google once a month for about $200. Not much, but hey, that's gas money. That pays my internet bill. So, Google, if you're favoring the left, right, then that means you only want leftist propaganda preached on your website. Because a lot of the stuff that I see from these leftist content creators is nothing more than propaganda. Nah, the DOJ, and I will say this to you, whoever's watching me from Google, the DOJ should stay out of your business as far as you outperforming your competition. I'm a capitalist. I want to outperform my competition any day of the week. Why? Because that would put me in a superior position. I shouldn't have to slow down because other people can't keep up. But Google, where you go wrong. YouTube, where you go wrong, is when you start controlling what people can and can't see, not allowing people to have an open dialogue. People need to be able to talk to each other if we're going to resolve anything. It's kind of like a marriage. If me and my wife has a dispute, but my wife is the only one that's allowed to speak, of course that's going to ruin the marriage. How do we resolve our situation in America, which America's divided? And that division stems from one side is allowed to speak while the other side is only allowed to suffer in silence. That's got to come to an end. Or else our problem in America will get worse. Kevin Lafferty says you could Google, you can get multiple different answers for the same question on multiple different phones. Yeah, it depends. But the thing is with Google, and pretty much I'm going to talk about this in my video on how to go viral. What's up, William Woods? How's it going? I got an upload that I'm creating, right? My uploads, for some reason, don't gain much traction. But I'll explain why they don't gain traction. And it's not the fault of YouTube alone why those uploads don't gain traction. The reason why is because if you have 20,000 followers that's not engaging in your content, somebody with 2,000 followers that has engagement in their content can grow. It's tailored to your experience. So if I was, on this account, this Ricky Manor account, I get more exposed to conservative views, right? On my Melanated Rebel account, YouTube account, I am exposed to more liberal points of views because I use that one to search liberal content. So it's all tailored to your experience. No, Google is not running a monopoly over anything because Google is not the only game in town when it comes to search engines, but nobody can compete with Google because Google outperforms them. They spend the most money, they make the most upgrades, and they're the ones who buy into urban infrastructures. So, of course, they're going to be number one. Nobody told Google when they became a search engine that they can't be a cable company as well. Nobody told Google they can't be a communications company as well. I mean, Google is the shit right now. They bought Fitbit. They bought Android. They trade with Apple. I mean, they're the shit. They're not trying to buy out the little man and run the monopoly. No. Don't believe the media hype when they tell you that Google's running a monopoly over anything. They're just outperforming. And with that being said, Patriots, do me a favor. Comment in the comment section once this video posts. Help me get this thing out of the algorithm. And if you haven't done this yet, smash that like button. And remember, where we go one, we go all. United we stand, divided we fall. I'm Ricky Manor of the Melanated Rebel News Network signing off. God bless you all. God bless America. And I look forward to January, where we can see Donald J. Trump go back to the office.